Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so happy to have you here today. Brooklyn's also happy to have you here today. He's going to be joining us in this video, apparently. And say hi, Brooklyn. Say hi, Brooklyn. You desperately wanted to be in the video, and now you're shy. And now you're shy. Anyway, happy to have you all here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's do some petty revenge stories from Reddit. My dad's boss has to pay 3 new people instead of giving my dad the pay that he worked for. Why does this always happen? It happens so often that instead of giving the one person that has been doing the job a pay rise and paying them what they're worth for the job that they had been doing, that they decide to go and pay 3 for multiple people to do the same job. Like, from a business standpoint, it doesn't really make sense. Even if you're paying the 3 or 4 people, the multiple people, less than what you were paying the current one person, it would still add up to costing you more in the end than just giving a slight pay increase to that person that's currently doing the job. I don't understand. Anyway, let's keep reading. We'll get some context and we'll find out the full story, all right? Full context. I'm a teenager, 15. My younger brother is 11. My family have a good, stable life financially, but recently it got better and we're finally able to do things we want now. I love that you are 15 and you know what's going on. When I was 15, I had no idea really what was going on in my family's life. I don't think I even really knew what my dad did for a job. I knew where he worked because we'd been there several times, but I didn't know exactly what he did for work. So good for you to be able to write this and know what's going on. I love that. I love that. It seems like your parents are very open with you. My parents are from that age of you do not discuss your finances and your life with your children. It is your children are on a need to know basis only. And I think, thank goodness, we have gotten away from that. And I don't agree with everything that we do in parenting or that parents do today, but I think parents are now a little bit more open than they were when I was growing up. Let's keep going. My dad, 40 male, has just gone self-employed because the company he used to work for didn't pay him a good salary for what he actually does. Good for him for going out on his own, and it sounds like it was the right decision for you and your family based off just that first paragraph where you said you've got a good, stable life financially, but it got better when he left and started his own business. So I love that. I love that already. For context, my dad is a floor layer and does little handyman jobs here and there for friends and family. His old boss, we'll call him A, always loved my dad because they started their floor business together. A became the manager and my dad was always a top employee. He did so much for this company that he was going to inherit it when A stepped down. But the thing is, every customer who called up usually got my dad because he was happy to go above and beyond to make sure these folks are happy with how the final floor looked. He brought in so much money to this company that he definitely deserved more than he was being paid, practically minimum wage. I'm sorry, are you sure you're 15? Because this is very, very well written. I was great at English and I still am, even though when I speak sometimes you might think to yourself, is this girl for real? She doesn't know how to speak. But trust me, I actually really do. I just, as I'm getting older, I'm just getting a little bit more a little less smart, I guess. I don't know. It just seems to be the generation we're in at the moment. You know, all the screen time and smartphones have just made us a little bit more stupid, let's be real. And I grew up in the world of like no internet, computers were very far and, you know, they weren't that popular. They were very, very expensive to have. So you had one in your household if you were lucky. No internet. It was only really just getting started when I was going through school. And you know, you actually had to go to the library and look up books. You couldn't just Google everything, and you didn't have screens in your hand. I didn't have a phone attached to me at all times when I was going through school. So I actually do like to think that I am quite intelligent and I'm great at English, but I don't think that my point is I don't think I could have written this well at 15. So high commendation to you. The injuries he's had while working have ranged from minuscule things like cutting himself to things like cutting his thumb off and electrocuting himself. Oof, cutting his thumb off. My dad cut his pinky off working on my car. Doing some mechanical repairs. My dad's not a mechanic, but yeah, he uses a Stanley knife every day for work because he is an electrician. And he was using he was using a Stanley knife to fix my car this one day, and he just was doing it the wrong way. He just wasn't even thinking, and as one does sometimes, and cut his pinky and cut through all the tendons and stuff. So I remember that vividly. I remember the blood. I remember it hanging there. It was just, oh. So cutting your dad cutting his thumb off and electrocuting himself. Wow. Can't even imagine. So you can imagine he's entitled to the raise he eventually asked for. Absolutely. It sounds like he's brought in, like you said, he's brought in a lot of business for the company, so and a lot of money. So right there he deserves a raise. Let's take the injuries out of it as well, right? Like, if I feel like if you are such a good employee and you go above and beyond and you're bringing in a lot of money for the company, they should compensate you and pay you what you are worth. And just, you know, as even just a respect thing, you know, it comes back to respect. Anyway, I am going on so many tangents through this. Let's see if we can get a little bit further than just one sentence. Before I go on a tangent, I'm going to try and rein it in. I'm so sorry, guys. A agreed to give him the raise, but he never did. My dad asked again, same thing. My dad then put up with this until their friendship was basically falling apart because A was always starting arguments over paying my dad. Claimed he didn't have the money to give him a raise and yet has a gorgeous house, two nice cars, as well as the work vans for loading carpets and stuff, and his entire family knows very well he does not need to spend all this money on things that don't matter much. They can live in a normal house, sell one of the cars, and be peaceful. But no, A wants to refuse giving a raise to his best employee. So my dad recently put in his 2 weeks notice. A then started begging my dad not to leave them, but to no avail. Yeah, he was begging him because he knew that he was going to lose a lot of money because there wasn't going to be that employee, that star employee, to bring in all the business and bring in all the money. He offered a pay rise like my dad asked for. My dad declined. I feel like he had his opportunity to give the pay rise and he had multiple opportunities and he didn't follow through with the promises that he made because he did say that he was going to give them to him, and it's a little bit, you know, a little bit late, honestly. I digress. I digress. Let's go back to the story. He's been setting this up for a while. My mum and I helped him build his own business from the ground. I work with him on my days off school and I'm going to be doing it for work experience too. I plan to work with him after I'm out of school too. My dad now gets the pay he deserves and still makes people happy with their flaws or anything else he's hired for handyman wise. I post on a TikTok account to help with advertising, so he's never short of jobs. Right now, he's got 3 weeks of work booked ahead. Yes, Queen, I love that. A then had to hire 3 new people and pay them all what he paid my dad each. So he's paying more than what he would have paid my dad had he have just given him the raise. And my dad's doing well for himself. When my dad told me about the new hires, I swear I face palmed so hard there's probably a dent in my skull. What a fool. You are a phenomenal writer. You are you seem like you are so intelligent, and your parents should be super proud of you, and should be as proud of you as it sounds like you are so proud of your dad. And so you should. He finally stood on business and said, you know what, I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I'm out, and he's making the money for himself, and good on him. Let's do some comments though. Bizarre as it sounds, this story isn't unusual. Instead of valuing an employee who went beyond and above, management often take them for granted. They are shocked when they finally leave, surprised when a replacement can't carry the same workload, and horrified they have to pay 3 times the salary to get anything close to the same level of functionality. Exactly. And businesses will never ever learn, because I hear of it so often. As I said at the beginning, it does happen. When you're a loyal employee, employers tend to think that they don't need to pay you what you're worth and don't need to give you that pay rise, because you are so loyal and you're never going to leave. But you know what? They always do. It's happened to me, and I've eventually left, and people never thought that I would leave previous jobs before. But you, as a human, we have emotions and we know our rights, and we all have our tether, and we get to that tether where you just can't go back, and you just can't keep doing it, and you just gotta cut the cord and just let it go and find something better. And your dad is doing it, and he's working for himself, and it sounds like he has so much experience, and he should have no issues, I think. And it seems like he has no issues getting customers, and I'm sure he's going to keep them. And word of mouth is going to continue to grow your dad's business. So best of luck to your dad and his new business. I'm so happy for him, and best of luck for you for your future. You sound like you have such a bright future ahead of you, because you sound so intelligent. Good luck, OP. I threw gummy worms at a woman for talking and using her phone in the theatre. So rude. It's so rude to use your phone in the theatre or in any public thing, in any public place where there are multiple people. A few years ago, I was watching Inside Out 2 in theatres. Sitting right in front of me were these 2 women and a young girl, maybe 7 to 8 years old. Throughout the movie, they kept talking, and the 2 women wouldn't stop using their phones. One of the women used hers on full brightness. It was so incredibly disruptive. Don't they tell you to put your phone on silent and just to leave your phone alone, like when you're in a movie? Like, I feel like that's just common sense anyways, but a lot of people don't have common sense these days. I happened to have a pack of gummy worms, but didn't want to waste any full worms on her. So after realizing at some point I couldn't take it anymore, I bit off half of one worm and threw the other half at her, and I didn't miss. She turned around and looked in my direction, but I just kept looking straight at the screen as if nothing happened. But then she still wouldn't stop using her phone. So a few minutes later, I bit off half of another gummy worm and threw the other half at her. That really got her angry. She turned around, looked right at me, and said, "Stop it!" Again, I just kept looking at the screen as if it wasn't me who threw it. Then she turned to the woman and little girl and said, "He's throwing gummy worms at me." The three of them turned around to look at me, then looked around to see who else could have thrown it. They continued murmuring to each other. Then the little girl pointed at me, at least I think it was me, and said, "Well, it definitely wasn't that guy." The three of them turned back around to watch the movie, and the woman finally dimmed her phone and eventually stopped using it several minutes later. They also shut up for the rest of the movie. The woman also left for a few minutes, presumably to tell the staff on me, but nothing came of it. So, for future reference, if you ever see someone talking or using their phone in a movie theater, just throw popcorn or candy at them. They won't know who did it. That's so good. And the fact that they couldn't prove that it was you. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. The colleague who wishes she was boss. There's always a colleague who wishes that they were the boss or believes that they're the boss. This woman annoys the crap out of me on an average day, but thankfully I don't have to deal with her much. She is not my supervisor, but she completes a lot of the ridiculously little admin tasks that our office requires to take stress off our boss. For example, making sure our training is up to date, submitting time cards, etc. She has her own team as well that she does supervise, but she's not my boss, as my boss is her boss. We have two ways we can submit any additional time worked: flex time or tracked time. We all had to work on a Sunday afternoon. Our boss told us we could use either flex or track time to make up for it. Hang on a sec. Brooklyn, darling, you're falling off, darling. You're not very comfortable, huh? I don't have the biggest lap, man. I don't have quite a big enough lap for you, darling. Hey, I don't quite have a big enough lap for you. We have two ways we can submit any additional time worked: flex time or track time. We all had to work on a Sunday afternoon. Our boss told us we could either use flex or track time to make up for it. I chose flex, which really is just I worked this number of hours on Sunday. I leave those many hours early on Friday. Tracked means I claim it on my time card for Sunday and claim it on Friday. We're talking 4 hours. Colleague decides that our boss is wrong and that I must follow the instructions she gave to her team to only use track time. No, I don't, is what I told her. She pushes back. I say, whatever, rolled my eyes, but planned to just shut her up, as it is usually not worth trying to reason with her brick wall head. But I like that. It's not usually worth trying to reason with her brick wall head, but I got busy and didn't go back in to change it immediately. Truly, she is so annoying that I usually just give in so I don't have to talk to her ever. Until my boss calls me into a meeting this afternoon to understand why I am causing her stress. I tell him and ask him to address his role in this nicely, of course. We're good. I then send her a message telling her if she has a problem, she can save us all time and just come to me. She replies, "I did, and you didn't do it. I have to get these things signed. It stresses me out." Oh, say more. Per policy, our time cards do not have to be submitted until close of business on Wednesday, meaning I have to submit. She doesn't have to sign them until Thursday, close of business. But I also learned that she uses the metric of having all the time cards signed by Wednesday to show that she goes above and beyond for the time cards and always beats suspense. Well, not anymore. I leave at 5. She leaves at 4:30. I submit my time card at 4:55. And it is stressing her out. She's tried to get me in trouble with my boss by telling him I'm late. I just send back the policy on when time cards are due. Rinse and repeat. She had a friend reach out this morning to see if I have completed my time card yet. My reply, no, super busy, but I'll get it done before close of business today. Eating my lunch, watching her spin out about being late with the time cards again. Petty, but feels good. It's a little petty. It is a little bit petty. It's always the smallest petty that just makes it so amazing. Petty. Why, yes. Thank you. This is some petty revenge I had on a housemate back in the day. Setting the scene. At the time, I was around 34, and the other housemates, Bill, 22 male, Ted, 23 male, and Jess, 24 female, were good friends, so moving and living together seemed like a win win. It was not. We all pay the same rent, so should have had the same access to the shared living spaces. This was not the case. Ted built models, lots of models, so many in fact the living room was full of them, and we, the other three housemates, were unable to go in there as there wasn't enough room to sit or watch TV. It became so bad that it was like Ted owned the house. He did not, and we just dwelt there. After repeated house meetings about it, we had had enough. Now, to the petty revenge. Ted was very particular with his models. They had to be displayed a set way and all the correct bits and pieces set perfectly on the shelves. Well, I moved them. Swapping characters around to different sets, swapping heads, torsos, legs to different people, putting them in battles with each other. Just random, silly little things, but it drove him absolutely crazy. I used to do it at all hours of the day and night, and he would wake up or come home from work and absolutely lose his ever-loving mind, screaming about who was in there, who did that, and getting totally out of control. I would simply say, "We're not allowed in our own living room." And he stormed off cussing to himself. Then I escalated. I got some of the same models and rebuilt them wrong. His was safely hidden and unharmed, and leave them around the house. He would start to lose it, and I'd show him the docket and box showing I had bought it. I had no idea where his was. Then I'd replace his on the shelf like nothing happened. Are you okay? Are you good? What are you trying to do? Bill and Jess told me after I left they continued messing with him in my absence. So it was petty and childish. Oh, completely. But it was so much fun. That actually does sound so fun and diabolical. And the fact that the other two housemates are continuing to do it, and so he doesn't know exactly which one started it or which one is the culprit. I love that so much. I love that your other two housemates are also involved and continuing while once you left. I love that. Saying yes to roofing telemarketers. Oh, aren't telemarketers just the worst? In late April, my area, Midwest US, was pummeled by a major hailstorm. My neighborhood was hit especially badly. Everyone is getting a new roof. Siding damaged, skylights shattered, cars were totaled, AC units are all beat up. Anything outside like patio furniture was trashed. With this came the rush of storm chasing roofing companies. Oh, I bet. Lots of out of town sketchy companies. They've been calling and door knocking non stop for 2 months. I hired a reputable local guy a week after the storm, but he's understandably booked out and hasn't replaced my roof yet. He also doesn't do yard signs like many of the companies do, so they've kept the pressure on me. It doesn't matter how many times I've said no or hung up on them. They keep calling, offering free roof inspections. My number is on the do not call list, but they don't care. No one does anymore. 2 weeks ago, I started actually talking to them. I asked the company name, tell them I've already hired someone, and hang up. Then I logged the company name in a quick Excel sheet. If a company called 3 times, I started saying yes, set up a time for an inspection. 3 different companies were on my roof today. All of them came down wanting to sign a contract right away. I explained I'd already hired someone, but thanks for the second opinion. Waste my time? I'll waste yours. This commenter, schedule all of them at the same time, have them fight it out for your signature. OP, I spaced them on purpose to drag it out. If this keeps up, next week's appointments will be a battle royale. Scent scammer, dirty diapers, and more. I used to own a commercial embroidery business. We got a call one day where a guy asked for a specific brand of garments that we got from our wholesale supplier, then placed an order worth about $2,000 but didn't want them decorated. It was weird. Said he would have payment to me the next day. FedEx delivers an overnight envelope with a business check made out to my business. I called the company on the check and talked with their CFO. It was clear that it wasn't from them, but was a legit account. I get an email from the scammer asking if I got the check, then said he would have a courier pick up the boxes the next day. So I fill empty boxes with garbage from home. I include dirty diapers, used cat litter, and more. 4 boxes between home, my neighbor's garbage from the street, and I topped them off with garbage from the shop. I get everything taped up and wait. A FedEx truck shows up to pick up the boxes. I asked to see the pickup details and they have a tracking number. They took the boxes, I tracked the boxes the next day, and they were overnight shipped to Kenya. I'm sure somebody's credit card paid for a crazy shipping charge. I never heard from them again, which is a shame because I really hoped to have them get angry about the garbage. Revenge against toxic co-worker. A supervisor at my job, Alice, has been overbearing, toxic, and self-centered, creating and attempting to enforce rules that she made up, benefiting her. Of course. And generally has been a very hostile, pain in the ass co-worker, in particular towards me, since I was promoted to supervisor 4 months ago. Recently, there was an incident where she made public comments from one day that she could not do a particular job, which involves customer safety, which is much easier on the supervisor doing that job for medical reasons. Suddenly, the next day, she was doing this job again, and then the day after that, I noticed that she was using a special seat cushion. No mention was made to other co-workers about this special accommodation. Then today, her first day off since the medical incident, I noticed a seat cushion stashed in a corner, but in a public area at our large facility. I looked the brand up on Amazon and it appears to be a cushion for hemorrhoids and tailbone issues. Oh. Since neither Alice nor any other supervisor had mentioned that one of our own might be using this item, Alice does not speak to me except to tell me to go elsewhere when she is performing a task and I happen to come by. I innocently assumed that it was left behind by a customer. When I was doing my closing rounds, I dutifully turned the item into Lost and Found, which receives hundreds of items per day. I'm looking forward to having the pain in the ass return to work and have a pain in the ass return. Do you have any petty revenge stories that you wish to share? Pop them in the comments and let me know. I would love to read them. That is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. And I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Bye.